Hello, once again. Thank you for coming back. Hey, I wanted to do this video, and this isn't one of my loose, funny videos again. You know what I mean? But it's something that I wanted to touch on, and I've been noticing going on with this whole Trump thing, all the way even before January 6th. I was noticing it. You've got this thing where some people can't lose. They don't know how to lose gracefully. They're sore losers. And I want to relate this to something I experienced personally in my tennis career. For you guys that don't know, I was a professional tennis player, okay? And I was damn good. Okay? Like before I went to college, I beat everybody in Georgia. I was one of the top ranked tennis players in the nation before I went to college. I could have gone anywhere I wanted, okay? And but I want to backtrack a little bit because see, I moved to Georgia when I was about 9 or 8, something like that, from New York. And I had already started playing tennis. I was about maybe 4 or 5 when I started taking lessons, actually. So you can imagine. And I just kept going. And but I wasn't that good at first. You know what I'm saying? I used to get really nervous, and I didn't have the proper coaching that would allow me to win. Now, for you guys that keep up with tennis, you know that Georgia is like the top tennis state in the nation. It's like Florida, Georgia, and California. Okay, those three states are where all the top tennis players are gonna come out of a lot of time because the competition is just so high here, especially in Georgia. Um, and when I got here, my parents were throwing me in tournaments, once a week, once every 2 weeks, I was in a tournament straight up, and I was getting killed. I would lose every time. And one of the main reasons why I would lose is when the people would see my name, they knew it was a black name. See, I have an African name. Ramo is just my stage name for my music. And when they would see that, they would put me to play the number one seed first round every single time. And there was nothing that we could say about it because they say, oh, well, it's just the luck of the draw. You see what I mean? Just the luck of the draw, right? And my dad was just so domineering and forceful that he used to tell me, I don't want to hear that shit. You wasn't going to win the tournament anyway, so you need to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of dad I had. He didn't give a fuck what they was doing. He was like, you need to be able to beat that number one seed when you walk out there. You beat him, you're going to win the whole goddamn tournament. And it took me a minute. It took me a while. It took me about maybe 5 years, believe it or not, before I won my first tournament. I was like 15. But once I started winning, I was like, uh-oh. And all the tournament people were like, uh-oh, this is exactly what we didn't want. He got confidence now, y'all. And that motherfucker can ball too. And what ended up happening was I ended up beating everybody. Literally, I would just win every tournament that I went to until I went to college. And what I started to notice was that, and I'm going to relate this back to Trump now. What I started to notice was that there were certain players where even as soon as they thought that they couldn't beat me, they were embarrassed because I was black. Believe it or not, this is the kind of pressure that the white parents were putting on their kids. There was more pressure on them to win against me because I was black. Okay? This is real, y'all. And what started happening with some of the players, especially some of the better players that I started beating, they would always accuse me of cheating. That was the first thing that they went to. Had to be cheating because there wasn't no way that I could have lost. I mean, they could have lost. He had to be cheating. Them niggas, right? And that would allow that son to jump back in that car with his parents, and they would feel better about the ass kicking because all the way home they would talk about how I was cheating. You see what I'm saying? Which is something that's pretty much impossible in tennis, because what would happen is they would go, they say I called the ball out, or they would call a ball out that was really in, or whatever it was, and then they would go get a line judge. And that was what the fuck I wanted. You see what I mean? They thought that they was making a big spectacle, acting like I was the one cheating by going to get the line judge. But in the back of my mind, I was like, great, go get that motherfucker. Because, and as a matter of fact, later on in my career, I didn't even wait. I didn't even used to wait. I used to play a couple games and just go get a goddamn line judge myself. You see what I mean? Because I'm like, let's play this motherfucker fair. You about to get your ass kicked. You see what I mean? And there's a lot of people out here, and it's not all white people, but there's a lot of white people out here that do not know how to take a loss. It's a lot of black people out here that don't know how to take a loss. I'll tell you an example of it. Black people have forgotten how to lose a fight. You see what I mean? Black people lose a fight now. They gotta go get their gun. Or they gotta go get they gotta go get their gang. You can't end right there with the loss. And it's the same thing that's going on with this whole Trump thing, man. It's still going on almost 4 years later. They trying to act like they won, and actually what? Somebody else cheated and can't take the loss. You see what I mean? And then what's gonna happen this next time? What's gonna happen? That's a damn good question. I'm gonna tell you what's not gonna happen. Nothing. Nothing is not gonna happen. Something is going to happen. Something is gonna happen, because you got millions of people now that don't know how to say they just lost. Instead of those kids going home with their parents after the tournament, after they took that ass kicking, instead of them going home and saying, you know what, let me get better. Next time I play him, I'm gonna beat him. He beat me by doing this, this, and this, and this. I need to improve on this, this, and this, and this. But you know what those kids did for the rest of their tennis career? They acted like I was cheating. And I kicked that motherfucking ass every goddamn time they got on that court. And it's one of the reasons, just one, why I'm the baddest man on YouTube.